Hello, I am Brooke and welcome to my first YouTube video. So first, let me explain something. I love makeup and I love Jesus, and so I really want to bring both of those to my YouTube channel and stay true to those throughout this. So to stay true to my Christianity, I want to have a verse of the day, and so for today it's Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men. I chose this verse because I really think that everything you do, you should do for the glory of God. I took inspiration from this picture right here. I printed it out because I'm filming on my phone. I don't know how to say her at. I just think that this color combination is gorgeous, and so she used the 35O, which I do have here, but I am actually going to use the Eyes-Jaclyn Hill palette. I really love this palette. It's probably my favorite palette that I have, even with my limited selection. So to start this look out, I am going to use a very big fluffy brush, number 504 from Morphe. And I'm going to go in to the shade Butter in the Eyes-Jaclyn Hill palette. Okay, now that that's evenly distributed, I'm going to take a slightly more precise blending brush. Not a very precise blending brush, but just a slightly more precise one. And I'm going to go into Buns, right there. And I'm going to put that in the crease, but slightly more precisely, focusing on the outer corner, because although this is a full cut crease, I'm only doing a half cut crease, so it's only going halfway over, so then I can have it more blown out and elongated. Now that I have that blended out, I am going to go back in with the 504. By the way, I use the 518 from Morphe for buns, but I'm going back in with Butter, just a tiny bit, tap off your brush, and I'm going right back over that. That just ensures the smoothest transition possible, and so you don't have any harsh lines. So I'm going to take another even smaller brush, and I'm just going to deepen that even more. So I'm going to take a mixture of mocha and chip. I'm going to take the 506, and I'm going to take a mixture of chip and mocha, which are these bottom two right here. And just very tightly in that outer corner, and then keeping that low, more like the outer V. It's not just the outer corner. You definitely want to go in more of a V shape to wing it out, and then back up into the crease again. So then you don't just create depth on the outer, but you also create depth in your crease. And just slowly do that, because otherwise you will get a very harsh transition and you're just not going to get the blend that you want. So you want to slowly build that up. So you can see it there right now, but you want to continue building it to the intensity that you want. For me, I'm trying to get it just as dark as that, which is almost black. So I might even add some black in at the very end when I'm almost done. And then when you have that as dark as you want, go back in with your big fluffy brushes. So for me, the 504, and Butter. Tap off your brush and continue blending. You just want to very lightly do that, because you don't want to go overboard and cover that darker color. It doesn't matter if your actual lid gets very messy, because we're going to cut that later and it'll look fine. Okay, So I have that blended out again, and I'm just going to continue deepening that, and more chip than mocha now, because chip is darker. And make sure you tap off your brush, just in case you get a bunch of fallout, and to make sure that you don't go in ham and then not be able to fix it. So now that I have that almost as deep as I want it, I'm going to cut the crease using the Morphe 432. It's just this very flat definer brush. I'm going to take some more of that IT Cosmetics concealer in light. Put that on the back of your hand. You don't need very much, especially with a concealer this full coverage. And then the trick with a cut crease is to cut the crease higher than your actual crease. So you can tell that my crease actually creases down here. See? But I'm going to cut it up higher so you have the orbital bone, that, you know, the brow bone, and you can feel it throughout. That's where I'm cutting my crease, is right under that orbital bone. And you do not want a lot of concealer with this, because otherwise it gets messy. Try not to open your eye too wide, or it'll transfer up too, and you definitely don't want that. Make sure you're holding your mirror pretty low to get the best, like, flattest eye shape that you can, so then your actual crease is not causing any problems. So I think I'm happy with that. Make sure you don't close your eyes, or open your eyes all the way, because again, you don't want that transfer. Now I'm going to take a packing brush. This is the Luxie 239 Precision Shader Brush, and it's just flat and dense. And now I'm going to take, this is basically DIY Fix Plus. It's glycerin and water. I'm just going to spritz my brush, and I'm going to take the shade Faint right here, the middleest pink shimmery shade, and I am going to take that damp brush and just pack that right where we cut the crease. If you don't have a good packing brush, your fingers work just fine. So now that I have that shade nicely packed in there, I'm going to take the same brush, spritz it again with the Fix Plus, and take Cran Apple, right here, Cran Apple, and I'm going to try and kind of diffuse that cut crease. So there's that really light and that really dark. I'm going to try and diffuse that with Cran Apple to add some of that pink in. Now that I have that pink, I'm going to take the little 506, dip into chip from Morphe, tap it off a little bit, and then where I have chip out in that outer corner, I'm going to try to blend Cran Apple into chip. Okay, so I really like how that's turning out so far. But I do want to add a little bit of glitter. So I have the NYX glitter primer. It's super inexpensive, like $7. The NYX Face and Body Glitter in the shade Rose. So it's just this rose gold glitter. I'm going to put the glitter primer first on the back of my hand. And I'm going to take a very, very, very small and precise brush. So this one is just itty bitty. And I'm going to dip into that. And I'm going to take that over just the lighter part, not the crayon apple, just the shade Faint. So I'm going to focus it on the inner corner. You always want to keep in mind that you can always add but never like truly take away product. And then I like to put it in the cap because then I'm not making a huge mess. So I just have a little bit in there. And I'm going to take the same tiny brush and I'm going to put that right over where I put that adhesive. Okay, now that I am getting this on, I'm really realizing that the shade Faint is not very pink, and so I think I'm going to take it over the entire part of my lid that is just Faint, adding a bit more of the adhesive and just slowly adding that on. So I think you can see that now. If I get closer, I'm just taking that everywhere where that light pink was at. And instead of using this brush, I'm actually going to switch to one of these little sponge applicators. This one is more silicone-y than most others. And so it picks up glitter really well. You can see it just picks that up really nicely and distributes it really well, which everyone just kind of throws these away. But I kind of thought to myself one time that would be really good for putting glitter on. So here we are, and I'm using it to put glitter on. To get a better transition between the glitter and the crayon apple, you're just gonna kind of smudge the glitter over a little bit. Not a lot, just a tiny, tiny bit. Oh, I'm gonna have glitter everywhere. But it's worth it, right? It's all worth it. Glitter is always worth it. That's where we're at so far. I'm really liking how it's turning out. Actually, I was kind of hesitant at first, but I rarely do cut crease. I've only done it like twice before, and so I was very, very hesitant to even try this look, especially adding the glitter, because I don't know if you could tell in this picture, but there's no glitter on her lid. It's just like a sheen. And I never do winged eyeliner, and so I was just very nervous to do this look. That being said, I am going to deepen up the crease more because hers is a lot deeper and I actually really like it. And so I am going to take a little bit more chip, very, 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 very carefully add a little bit more of that to the crease, trying not to screw anything up. Okay, so I added it, and now I'm going to take any blending brush, preferably a small one, without much color on it, and I'm just going to blend that out. This is the 433 from Morphe. Okay, I think I'm happier with that. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take the 213, and I'm going to take the shade in light, just this very first shade. And it's just a highlighting shade with a pretty neutral undertone. I'll show you on my hand. It's just very neutral, but it's a very intense highlight. I'm going to take that on my inner corner. And at first I'm just going to pack it in. And I'm going to put it on my brow bone. And then I'm going to take some of that product off on my hand and blend that out. One of the biggest mistakes is people get their inner corner highlight very intense, but then they don't blend it out. I am using a lipstick as an eyeliner. Yeah. So, I'm going to use the liquid catsuit in the shade Berry Compromise. And I'm going to put that on the back of my hand and then use this. This is the smallest brush I have. I'm just going to use that to line. I'm gonna do a winged eyeliner, and it may or may not turn out. So, just a dollop on the back of my hand. Now, brush. And again, you don't want very much because you don't want it to turn out messy. It's very easy to go overboard when you're using a liquid lipstick as an eyeliner. So, look down and just tiny, tiny, tiny strokes. And I'm just starting out with the smallest line. That is the other eye all completed. And then I did my base too. So I'm wearing the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation on top of the Hourglass Veil primer. And then I cream contoured using the E.L.F. Cream Contour Quad in the I think there's only one shade in this. And then for my highlight, I used the name is completely worn off of this. It's in the shade Champagne. You can get it at Ulta in the drugstore section. The powder I used was the My Minerals finishing powder. This is great. It's sold by a local brand here in Lewiston, and the owner is absolutely great to me, and her name is Sean. Check them out on Facebook. They're great. That's what the logo looks like, and that is also the picture for their Facebook page. I used this Ellen Tracy contour thing. I used the bronzer shade as bronzer and this for contour. And for a highlight, I layered two. The really bright one that you can see really well, it's this Luna highlighter in Electra, and it's a baked highlighter. It's the Rimmel London. It's this highlighter. This is the Trio and Coral Glow. So I think that is all that it is on my face. I put on some mascara. I used the diorshow sample size because I'm cheap. Onto the lower lash line, I'm going to take the Morphe E17. It's a blending brush, but it's smaller. I'm gonna dip that into butter, and I'm just gonna buff that onto the lower lash line, focusing on the outer portion. Oh, concealer. I used the Bye Bye Under Eye. Very, very small amount, especially because it's so light, especially on my skin tone. So just the E17 butter, and right on that lower lash line. And I want to get that very smoked out, super blown out, and leave the inner corner more bare. And then take it just barely under that liner to connect. So I think you can kind of tell what I'm doing there. I'm just going to do the other eye. Okay, so That's both eyes with just butter on the E17. And then I'm going to take this more precise Wet n Wild brush. It doesn't have a name on it, but it's just very precise. I'm going to take Chip and I'm going to tap that off, and then only on the outer half. Just go back in with butter and smoke that out. So I think you can kind of tell that it's just getting deeper. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna do the other eye. So now that that is all on there, I'm just gonna take a very, very small, precise brush. This is not super short, but it's very, very flat. And then I'm gonna take a mixture of crayon apple and faint, and I'm gonna put that on the inner part where we left it bare. Okay, so now that I have that all on there, which gives that pink smokiness, I'm gonna take the brush that we used glitter on earlier. I'm gonna add just a tiny, tiny bit along with a little bit of glitter, just because there's not enough on the brush and it's kind of dried a little bit. So, tiny brush right under there. That just gives that really nice pop right under there. It's not really showing up on camera, but it's there. Okay, and then to finish off this eye look, I am going to use the Clinique Lash Doubling Mascara sample. I just like the really small brush. It's pretty little. And so I can get under my lash, on my lower lashes. I have really long lower lashes, and so I really struggle with whenever I blink, it'll transfer. So if you tip your head down, it keeps your lower lashes away from your actual under eye. Okay, so I'm not gonna wear falsies, too much of a hassle. So now I'm just gonna put on my lipstick. Again, this is the Liquid Catsuit in the shade Berry Compromise. It's the same thing I used for my eyeliner. So I'm gonna give another spritz of this water glycerin combination just to melt everything into the skin. And yeah, oh, that highlight is just giving me life. And then you don't want to look anywhere except for straight forward when this is drying as I look down. Okay. So, this is the finished look. I hope you guys all enjoyed. So please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you would like to see more of me. Thank you.